This is Roxon087. Welcome to my video review of the Prime SAI Costa style RMR Glock slide set for the Tokyo Marui G18c. Okay, this is the gray version. They do make a couple of different colors of it. They do have one that is black color, I believe, and a gray color, and a tan color. So and they also make a Glock 34 slide. Okay, now. First of all, let me clarify something. Why for a Glock 18? Well, for the Glock 18's blow-up housing unit, there's enough space to allow so that you can cut the top for an RMR cut. Okay, so that's the reason why you have to play a Glock 18. A couple of people have been buying up Glock 18s to purposely do this to their own Glocks. If you have the connections or if you have the tools to make those kind of workings to your slide. But these come pre-milled, so it's actually very nicely done, as you can see. Prime does a very good job of building anything that's metal. They have a fairly good reputation for making M4 bodies, Glock slides, and they did make a Glock slide in the past, which maybe I'll show you guys one day, because personally I've actually got one of them. Anyways, so let's talk about pricing. Okay, these retails for roughly around 180 to 250 US dollars. Okay, so why the big price change? Or the price difference? Well, the thing is, in Hong Kong, a couple places in Hong Kong are selling this relatively cheap, and I'll get into why later. And online, I believe it retails for around 200 250 US dollars. Now, the reason why you're looking at that kind of price is just because it's online. It's always been like that, and to be honest, I'm going to be quite honest with you, I believe the prices of these things will get cheaper. As of right now, 10th October 2014. Now, the reason why that is because the Glock 18, the Tokyo Marui Glock 18s, as of right now, there are very little of them floating around. Like, I got this Glock 18 by luck. Okay, it just so happens to be that when someone brought this to me, they offered me to get one of these, to Glock 18 and the RMR slide and the RMR for me. So that's why I have the option of getting all this in one go. But it's really, as of right now, it's really difficult to find them. And the reason why is just because Tokyo Marui hasn't been restocking anyone for quite some time. So you may have trouble finding the Glock 18 online or anywhere unless you have some sort of special connection. I'm just letting you know right now that it's getting difficult and hard to find. That's why some places in Hong Kong are actually selling this cheaper. Is because they spent a lot of money getting this and then suddenly they're just sitting on their shelf doing nothing. So enough of me babbling, let's go on with the external details and what I've done so far, and I'll get on to the externals of the slide, okay? So externally, I've done just a stippling job. Everything here is completely stock Tokyo Marui Glock 18 internally, okay? Everything externally just have a little bit of done-up work. The frame is completely stock Tokyo Marui. I've just done a 360 stipple job, and I put a Ready Fighter grip, a magwell over here, and the trigger is still stock Tokyo Marui, a string light R1, of course the Prime slide. And it does come with these iron sights, by the way. And the RMR is made by PPT. Okay. Now let's go over the overall the slide first, and then I'll tell you all the little fidgety details and all the fitment details later on. Okay. So as you can see, the back cocking serrations are very normal. They're just this is normally on a Glock anyways, so that's nothing special. And I can tell you that all the cuts made so far are very nicely done. Very clean cuts. Especially the front cocking serrations, that's a little bit diagonal. As you can tell, they did actually a 5-axis job. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's a very nicely cut slide, and they also made the lighting of the slide cuts, like all these cuts, very nicely done. Okay, I almost have to say this is almost better than the ones that Guns Mafia has been making. Not that many of them have them. I personally have only one. But anyways, and these laser markings are all done very nicely. They're not the kind of laser markings where if you rub your finger over it, you can feel it. You can't feel it, okay? The ones that you can feel are, like, for example, the GMPs. if you run your finger over the laser markings, you can actually feel them bumping, like sticking out. These ones are almost look like they're printed on. So they're very, very clean, okay? They're very, very clean markings. Now, I do want to note one thing though. I do notice that these front cock installation cuts do not look super deep from a distance, but I can tell you that they're roughly the same as the back. They do give you quite good purchase on the front grip. Okay? And also the cut made to the center is also very, very deep, very beautifully made, as you can see. Okay? And now, let's go over what it comes with, okay? So, when you get this, first get the slide, okay? It comes with the barrel, of course. Notice the barrel looks like this. It actually protrudes off the slide, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't know if the real steel one is like this, okay? But apparently this is just what it comes with, okay? And it also came with these raised iron sights, which is a very, very nice touch. These iron sights are actually high enough that you can co-witness with the red dot. Okay. Now, however, these iron sights do not have any kind of inserts in them. They're just a little small crate, like a little small bump over there that you can just dip paint, put in glow in the dark paint, or dot them or white dot them. Okay, I just chose to paint them with white, just because I don't have any glow in the dark paint. Although I have seen some people where they actually take a fiber optic, a very small piece, chop it off, put it here, melt it on, so you sort of have a glow front sight. If you do it properly, it'll actually look very nice, but don't try it unless you're very experienced with doing that. Also note the slide also has all the proper bull nosing cuts at the front over here, as you can see, is actually angled, and so is the back. It's also angled. Okay, so basically this is pretty much a very good replica of the Costa style SAI Arms Glock slide, and apparently this is the way he likes to set it up. I don't know if it is. I just got it just because I think the coloring looks very, very unique, which I don't know if you have noticed. The coloring is actually made specifically this grayish color. It's actually made specifically to be this way. So that's personally why I like it. To my understanding, only Thunder Airsoft and Prime has made a Glock slide that's gray color. Of course, you can always paint it gray on your own if you can, or if you can Cerakote your own slides. Okay, if you have that option, good for you. But as of right now, in the Airsoft Marui Glock market, there is no such thing as a gray slide unless you buy those two companies. I think Ace One Arms does make one. Don't quote me on that. I'm not very familiar with Ace One Arms because I never buy anything from them, or I've never had the opportunity to own anything from them, so I don't know. But to my understanding, Prime and Thunder Airsoft are the only ones that make it. Okay, so let's go over red dot compatibility right now, okay? Now, these two screws came with the slide, okay? And they're made specifically so that they can fit in these threading very, very easily, okay? And this is a red dot made by PPT, as I mentioned before, okay? Now, there are actually, to my understanding, besides the Real Steel Trigicon one, there are 3 China companies that have made copies of this, okay? Now, I don't know their names because their names are straight up they're not even on the packaging. Like, they don't even really have a name, to tell the truth. There's a complete black one with no laser markings. Apparently, that is the most durable one. Apparently you can shoot like point blank and it won't dent, nothing will happen to it. Okay? This one, PPT, is sort of like the medium quality of it, okay? Sometimes the red dot goes off by itself. It just suddenly turns off. And the red dot is adjustable, okay? Like, is minus, you can turn it down or you can turn it up, and it goes up to a very high setting. And let me see, this is also medium priced. The black one that I mentioned was actually cheaper. There's also another company that makes this with very, very poor laser markings, are like almost brown color. Oh, I forgot to mention, there is a 4th company that makes these. Ace One Arms, apparently, they actually have these RMRs being made, but they're not selling them out at the moment, okay? Now, apparently the Ace One Arms is 100% drop-in here. It is 100% drop-in, the Ace One Arms one, but it's not being sold yet. As of October 10th, 2014, it is not sold yet, okay? So I don't know when they're going to start selling them, but apparently that's what this one was made specifically for. So if you have a Ace One Arms Glock 17 slides. They made a couple with those RMRs. Apparently that's a drop-in. Okay. Now, if you have the PPT, this is the only red dot that I've ever owned that is a copy of the Trigicon. You have to modify this. How you modify it is here. Now, you cannot tell, but I've actually done a lot of work to do this. Now, you cannot do this with a traditional file because it's really difficult to do. What I did was I took a Dremel tool and slowly carved away this material. Okay, so you can see it's still actually leveled, but I just completely cut that area away. The reason why was because when I put it on the slide like this, it would hit the top. It was hitting the top here, so it couldn't go in. So what I did was I decided to cut that area very specifically and put it on like this. So now it fits perfectly onto it. And you do notice, of course, because this is the very first time I fitted this, I accidentally made a small boo-boo. Okay, so my Dremel tool got off hand and I accidentally did that. But with that one exception, I actually completely covered the other side. Okay, so it's not my best work, but you know, it's the best I can do considering it's a very precise area to cut away. It's really difficult to do. So that's one of the really bad points about this, is that it doesn't come with an RMR, and the RMRs that do fit, you can't buy them yet. I don't know how the fitting goes for the other two RMR, for like the very durable one and the other one with the bad laser markings. I don't know if it's a drop and fit, or if it fits, or if it's too big or anything like that. But anticipate a couple of problems going in, okay? And I also want to mention a couple of other things. Because these are all fake RMRs, you have to understand that your red dot will not be very clear. Now, I do own a couple of real steel red dots. That's not made by Trigicon, and the dot is very clean. Okay, the dot here actually flares out into like a really big fireball. A fireball that's like spreading out like that. Now, I cannot show you because my battery's dead. Okay, and these are not batteries I buy very often, so I don't have any extras. But anyways, I'm just telling you right now that if you want a very clear picture from these sites, you're not going to get them. These are just purely for looks. Like most things for airsoft, it's purely for looks. Okay, so it's very easy to put it in once you do fit it. What I recommend you to do is buy the cheap one and then fit it on. Now, there's another concern that you have to think about when you get these red dots, is the fact that the glass may be able to pop out. Now, the reason why I selected the PBT one is because so far, I have yet to see one that pops out. The black one never pops out. The one with a very bad laser marking always pops out. The Ace 1 arms, I do not know, because I don't even know anyone with an Ace 1 arm, so I can't tell you about that. But what I can tell you is that this one, so far, it stays on. Okay? Now, my Glock does fire, but it doesn't fire very well. Okay, so now we'll get to the firing portion, okay? The firing of this is not so good. Okay, this slide right now, you cannot feel this. Now, if I take my light off, you cannot feel this. But this slide and the RMR combination is really heavy. Like, you have no idea how heavy this Glock is with no mag in it, okay? It is just so heavy that the slide is very sluggish. So, I haven't done any upgrades to mine. Now, the reason why is because I only got this for the sole purpose of collecting it, okay? But this is how it fires. See, and sometimes it jams, okay? This is, oh, by the way, in my Tokyo Marui Glock 18c review, I mentioned that there's a problem, that if your slide gets out of battery like this, it won't fire. Unless you move the slide, okay? That's one of the problems I mentioned. I noticed that it's getting stuck on something again. Oh, and see, it just moved by itself. It's sort of an inconsistent issue, okay? So I have yet to solve that problem. If you're watching this video to know if you want to fit this onto your Glock, I have yet to solve that problem. But so far, this is the best I can do for now. Now, everything inside this Glock is completely stock. Okay? Everything in here is stock, okay? So I have not modified anything except for the front. I modified this. I got rid of the bumps, okay? Now, over here, now because this used to be a Glock 18, you have to understand that when you get the slide, your full auto function will be completely gone. And the reason why it's gone is because Prime also gives you another piece. You see this piece right here? This piece that I'm poking at replaces the Glock 18, replaces the Tokyo Marui Glock 18 guts. Okay, so once you fit it in here, that's You no longer have it, okay? Now, I also want to note a couple of other things, okay? Now, if you cannot afford a Tokyo Marui Glock 18 or any Tokyo Marui, you know, in general, Tokyo Marui stuff is very, very expensive. Like, even I find it expensive, by the way. It's not like I don't actually get Tokyo Marui as often as you think. But anyways, what I can tell you is that if you get a HK3P, which is a significantly cheaper option, I believe it's below $100 in general. I don't quote. You know what? Don't quote me on that. But to my understanding, HK3Ps are quite cheap. WEs are quite cheap. You can, if you're only buying this with the intention to collect it, maybe you should think about getting that. I do not know about the fitment, but I have heard that you can fit it on, but you need a lot of work in order to get it to move. Apparently, it won't even move when you install it in a WE or HK3P. Now, don't quote me on it. Is because one, I don't have a Glock 18 HK3P or from WE. I've never owned one. I don't think I've even seen one before. But apparently, it does exist out there. If you want to fit it on that, I can tell you that you'll have a lot of problems. From a couple of very reliable people that I know that also had this, but they had the HK3P one. By the way, they purposely bought the cheaper Glock to put this on just for the sake of looks, okay? We're only buying this to collect, okay? So if they tell me that it's very, very hard to fit, I think it's just a good reason to believe it, okay? And in general, if you try to buy Tokyo Marui slides and fit them onto a WE or HK3P, you will encounter a little bit of issue where the lips may not be touching the nozzle or something like that, or something may be off. Not for all slides, for some, okay? Just not for all, but some, okay? This is one of them, okay? Okay guys, so thank you for watching. Sorry if this video couldn't be any more helpful to you, but right now it's really difficult to solve the cycling issue. In the future, I will be solving this issue on my Facebook page. So if you guys follow me on Facebook, you know, good. Anyways, so thank you guys for watching. Please feel free to ask questions, comment, like, and subscribe. And again, I will be updating this in the future. I may post another video on this because I intend on getting a couple of Glock 18 parts to see if I can address the issue. For example, right now it's getting caught in the hammer, right now it jams up on itself, and has, oh by the way, this jam has nothing to do with the barrel, okay? I want to clarify that right now. It has nothing to do with the barrel tilt. I already checked that. It has to do with the back here, okay? I've narrowed that down. It's because I also stripped off all the guts off the slide and run it through, and I noticed that it was still getting caught on the valve knocker disconnector, and sometimes the trigger bar hooks onto the slide, okay? Now, there's a couple, there's all the problems for this. I'll mention it in another video one day, okay? So thank you guys for watching. Peace.